Hi, this is Yos. Today we're going to talk about the past simple tense. For the past simple tense, when do we use the past simple tense? The past simple tense is used to express the idea that an action started and finished at the specific time in the past. And also we can talk about the past state of being, such as feelings that we have. Okay, let's have a look at the second example. So here you can see the first example is the team prepared the project presentation last night. So we talk about the things, the action that happened last night. It happened and it's finished. The second one is that Paul lost his wallet 2 days ago. And right now he can't find it. His wallet is lost. And the third one, the weather was very humid yesterday. So there's this one, we talk about the yesterday. Okay. But when we talk about the past simple, we have to know about the formulation of the past simple tense. When we talk about the formulation of the past simple tense, we focus on the verb. So in the verb, there are two kinds: regular verbs and irregular verbs. In the past simple tense, so there are two kinds of this, and we're going to talk about the regular verbs first. The regular verb first, when we talk about the regular verb, so we add ed at the end of the root form of the verb. And if the verb ends with an e, the only d is inserted. Can you think about that? Let's have a look at the example. The first one is walk. See, walk. The past form is walked. We add ed at the end of walk. Hunt, hunted. Live, lived. And die, and died. You can see live and die. They end with e, so we add only d. Next, the regular verbs end with y. If any verbs that end with y, so the y is changed to I and we add ed at the root form of the verb. When the consonant precedes y, you're going to see some example in a minute. And there's another kind of y. So the ed is added to the verb ends with y when a vowel precedes y. What do you mean by that? Let's have a look at the example. See the word play. You see it's a vowel precede the y. So we add ed like play, played, stay, stayed. But cry, when you see this, cry, it ends with y, but the consonant precedes the y. So we change y into I and we add ed like cry, cried, try, tried. Next, the regular verb, the final consonant is doubled before adding ed when first a verb follows the CVC rule. What is it? CVC rule, it means that in a verb they have just only one vowel in the middle. You're gonna see in the example then. And another thing is we add ed when a verb has 2 syllables and the second syllable is stressed. Let's have a look at the example. Like the first word, stop. You see the word stop? So they have only one vowel here, stop. So we double the consonant before we add ed. The same thing as rob, robbed. We add b before we add ed. And two words here, These two words are two-syllable verbs. So this one, the first word is prefer. When you see the word prefer, the stress is stressed at the second syllable. So we add the final consonant before we add ed. The same thing as the word admit. So when we do the past form, so we admitted. So we stress admit. The mit is stressed. So we add t before we add ed. So when we talk about the regular verbs, next we're going to talk about the irregular verbs. The irregular verbs are not conformed to the conjugation rules of the past simple tense. And also the past form can be either similar to or different from the base form or the root form. What do you mean? So it means that you remember that the conjugation rules of the past simple tense is to add ed. But for irregular verb, they are not conformed to them. Let's have a look at an example. Like the word be. You see, be, for the past form, it was and were. And sometimes the word put, the past form is still put. Come, came. Think, thought. There are many regular verbs that many regular verbs like 300 something. So you have to remember all of them anyway. When we know all the verbs, so we have a look at the sentences. The sentential forms of the past simple tense. There are three kinds of the sentences: positive, negative, and questions. We're going to have a look at the positive sentences first. When we talk about the positive sentences, the main verb in a sentence is changed according to the rules of the past simple tense. So you remember, right? Either it's regular or irregular. Let's have a look at an example. Like this one, Helen was happy a few hours ago. Or George went to the downtown yesterday. Or Tina lived in the countryside last year. The accident happened in 2012. Or the computer stopped working during the class on Monday. So you see all these situations happened in the past. As I can say, you see, they changed the form or they add ed as we talked about earlier. For negative sentences, so we put did not or didn't in the negative sentences, and the main verb remains its base form. You're going to see in an example. Like this example, Tony did not eat a hamburger last night. Or Ivy didn't forget to turn off the light before leaving home. Or Kenny did not collect coins. And another situation is the situation didn't happen in 2003. Or the last sentence, students did not receive any free movie tickets. So you see, we include did not or didn't in the negative sentence. And you see all the verbs here, the main verb remains their base form. For the questions, it's the same thing. The question, we include did in the questions. And also the main verb remains its base form. Let's have a look in the example. Did John come to school yesterday? Did Sarah punch her ear 2 years ago? Did Oliver return home last night? Did those men steal the car? And did the workers understand the announcement? So you can see we add did. We use did here. We include did here in the questions. And the same thing. The main verbs in the questions remain the base form. Okay? These are the rules in the past simple. And I have a couple of exercises for you to practice. Okay? So you can stop the video at any point in the practice and then try to practice each of the practice. Okay, so you know you will gain more knowledge about that. Okay, the first one is the practice one. So you just change the verb according to the sign at the end of the sentence. Okay, you have look like bake. For the positive, this one is positive sentence. This one is question and this one is negative. Okay, so let's try then. Okay, you can try on your paper, or if you use any mobile devices or portable devices, so you can just capture the screen and then you just write down the answers. Okay, this is the first one. And the second slide is the same thing, the second one. Okay, but if you can see this one is positive and negative, it means that this one is positive, this one is a negative. Okay, so you can do the same thing for this one. And the second exercise is to practice the same thing, but this is a paragraph. So you read the story and then try to conjugate the verb into the correct form anyway. Okay, and also if you have not here, so it's a negative sentence. And the last one is to practice. Please answer each question based on your own information, but try to answer it in the full sentence. Okay, for example, if you ask, when you were born, how did you feel yesterday? Where did you go last weekend? When did you see a movie? What did you buy last week? Whom did you speak with yesterday? When did you leave home this morning? And when did you do your homework? Okay, so you just try to answer these questions. Okay, so this is all about present simple. If you have any questions, so you can contact me when you see me at school, or you can send me an email, or you can just post anything down below in the comments or something. Okay, I hope this one helps you understand more about past simple tense, and then you can use them to explain, to talk about what happened in the past, your story, whatever you want to talk about in the past. Okay, thank you very much for watching.